this is Ms. DB. In this video we are going to learn about solving two-step equations, and we will start that by looking at equations that have some number being added or subtracted to the variable and a number being multiplied or divided to the variable. So when we do this, like in this example here, this 4x minus 3 equals 15, the first thing you want to do is think to yourself, okay, what's the variable? Well, in this case it's x. What's being done to the variable? X is being multiplied by 4 and 3 is subtracted. So when you start to do inverse operations, you want to reverse that order. The first thing you want to do is get rid of the minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides. And then you want to undo the multiplied by 4 by dividing both sides by 4. So we do the inverse operations in the opposite order as to what is being done to them in the equation. Let's look at the x over 3. X divided by 3, or x over 3 plus 2. So the variable is x, it's being divided by 3, and 2 is being added. So the opposite, the inverse operations, is to first undo the plus 2. So the first thing you would do is you would subtract 2 from both sides, which is the same as adding negative 2. And then we would undo the division by multiplying both sides by 3. Here's another example. I'm going to let you look at that one. And then number 1 has already been done, and all the steps are there so that you can go back and say, wait, how did they do that again? So when you do your problems, you do need to show your steps. If you just write the answer, you won't get any points for this. I'll put down like 0.5 or something just so I know you attempted it, but you have to have your work shown. If you prefer to do your work on a piece of notebook paper, I am completely fine with you taking a picture of that and attaching that to your work or to your assignment. So let's look at, I'll solve one of these to practice a little bit. How about number 5? So the first thing again is to think, what is the variable? In this case it's y. And what's happening to the variable? The variable is being multiplied by 15 and it has 31 added to it. So we are going to use inverse operations, and the first thing we would do is to subtract the 31 from both sides. So I write minus 31 underneath both sides. You can type it or you can write it with a pen on your own paper, or if you have a tablet you can do it this way. And that leaves me with 15y is equal to 61 minus 31. 61 minus 31 is 30. Now I'm ready to do the second operation, because it's 2 steps, so there's going to be 2 things to do. And that is to undo the 15 that's multiplied to the y. So I would divide both sides by 15. And that would leave me with y is equal to 30 divided by 15 is 2. Now to check your answer, there's 2 options. You can take your answer that you got and plug it back into your original equation. That would be 15 times 2 plus 31. And I want to see if that is equal to 61. So that would be 30 plus 31. And 30 plus 31 is 61, so it does check. You can check on your own paper. You don't have to show me that you checked it. But if you did check it, you would get this correct and you won't have a mistake there. So if you got an answer of y equals 3, then I know you didn't check it because it wouldn't have been the correct answer. You can also check using technology like Desmos or GeoGebra. So for this equation, 15y, I'm going to change that to x though, 15x plus 31 is supposed to be equal to 61. You can type it exactly as shown in the equation, except you have to change the variables all to x. And then what we want to do is check where does it go through the x-axis, because if the variable is equal to this number, then we got the right answer. So we got that it's going through at 2, and we got an answer of 2. So that's another way to check, is to use technology. I'm just going to start something like number 8, because this is one that has division to solve. And it's similar to number 9. Let's look at number 9 instead, because in number 9 it's not finished yet. And sometimes people think it's done just because I typed some stuff there. So there's 2 things going on with this one. First of all, it's the variable is here, it's being divided by 2, and it has negative 4 added to it. We could subtract a negative 4, but it's easier to do the opposite and add 4 to both sides. So if we add 4 to both sides, negative 4 plus 4 will become 0, and I'm left with just the m over 2. So I'm getting towards a better simplified answer. I'm getting towards m equals like I want to. So you add 4 to both sides, and that gives you m over 2, or m divided by 2, is equal to 10 plus 4 is 14. And that's not the answer because that's not m equals yet. We're always trying to get the variable by itself. So I need to undo the dividing by 2 by multiplying both sides by 2. So I need to multiply m over 2 by 2, and I need to multiply 14 by 2. Now on the left side, when I multiply m over 2 by 2, the 2's cancel, and I'm just left with m. That's what my goal was. On the right side, I still have to finish 14 times 2, and that's 28. And then again, you can check by putting your value that you got for your variable back into the equation and seeing if you get the same thing on both sides. So I would put a 28 here, and I want to see if that's equal to 10. So negative 4 plus 28 divided by 2 is 14. And negative 4 plus 14 is 10. So this does work, and I do have the correct answer. All right, in the next section, instead of having your 2 steps being either add or subtract and then multiply or divide, your first step is going to be adding like terms or combining like terms. So look at number 11. We have 28 equals 8x minus 7x plus 12. We have some like terms to combine first. 8x minus 7x is 1x. And you don't have to write 1x, you can just write x. And then you can see that there's only going to be one more step to do, and that is to solve for x by subtracting 12 from both sides. So this is not the answer. You still have to finish and find out what x is equal to, but that's your first step. In number 12, again, your first step is to combine like terms. The like terms are 2y plus 5y. Make sure that you see that the sign in front of each goes with them. Now, I'm not going to subtract 5y from both sides. I'm just going to combine the like terms that are on one side. So I could rewrite this using the commutative property so that the terms that are the same, the y terms, are next to each other. The 7 is minus 7. And then you can see that this would be 7y minus 7 equals 0. And we're trying to solve for y. So the variable is y, so I can see that I have to undo the minus 7 first, so I would add 7 to both sides, and then I could divide by 7. Number 13, I did the first step. I combined the 4t minus 1t to get 3t, and then you need to finish. In 14, there's 2 pairs of like terms to combine. So I'm going to write them next to each other to make this a little easier. I'd have 8x plus 1x, and then it's minus 6 minus 6 equals 42. So when you combine your like terms, these two go together, and then the other two that go together, that minus 6 becomes a negative 6. So it's like negative 6 minus 6. So that's going to be negative 12. Make sure you catch that. That color looks really close to my other color. I was trying to change the color. And that's it. I guess that's the last one. So be careful on these. Check your work. We're going to practice more solving equations in this chapter, but make sure that you get these correct, and do make sure that you show your work. Thank you very much and have a great day.